We're back. We're back on another. It's animation. It's
Immediately.
animation.
Oh no.
Oh wait, is that what's happening? Oh, in the chat. Sorry, guys. Yes, the fake Sohail's here. Oh no, we got like an you just you guys. You're just gonna have to deal with it. I have terrible allergies and I'm self conscious. So people, I know.
I will say
I
for the
know.
record that I think people prefer seeing a real human with real human fluids than a fake human with no fluids. But when you're self-conscious about something, sometimes you just can't turn it off. So
You can't turn it out. It's true. And this is the next best thing because I have audience members, especially some of my text message audience, which is friends and family, who are like, "We want to, we want to see your face." So, see, look,
this
Art's in
this
the
has.
audience. He's
I
on
don't want
Division
to
Pro
say.
too.
I don't want to say it's improved,
It has no. This
but it
is
has. I think so because it's not the
no. It's
same. There's an update, right?
there's definitely an update, and I don't know
You
what
don't
it's
look
doing. It's like
as
zooming.
old. I think you look a little younger than you looked the first time around. Well, it looks younger because it's not you, but it's doing something. It looks better, I think.
Thank you. And I like the question. Is that a beret? Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
kind of. It's
It's a
kind of
helmet.
hair and kind of not. You know what I mean? It's kind of Lego-ish. You know the Lego hair?
Oh yeah, totally. I do know what you're talking about. By the way, shout out to our friend Robbie's in the audience. Let me have my control center to the right, so when I look over here, it's because I'm on the control center. Nice to see you. We got Cake is Eternal is here. Jill, we've got Art, we've got Joel, we've got Benji. Good friends,
Mm,
good
mm,
times.
mm.
So Toddy, this quick channel, a few channel updates other than like Lego Highlight. Cake is Eternal said Fisher Price hair, and Jill's like Lego hair. I look like CG Toby Maguire. That was for
You know what
for
this
Robbie.
is? This is when like someone else continues the Starfleet's the Hell podcast long after you're gone, and they want to do like a special 50th anniversary episode or something, you know, 100th anniversary. They'll bring you back in this form, and it'll be like AIU contributing, and you'll be like 11 out of 10. Woo!
I'll sign whatever documents I need to, but I officially authorize for AI to continue doing Starfleet So Hail episodes.
Okay, you'll become an Avenger in Avengers 57 then.
I want to be Vision. That would be an awesome thing to be. So Toddy, we're here to talk about Star Trek Prodigy's latest and greatest couple episodes. Hey, Ellie. Ellie was
Latest and greatest in the ones that I have seen.
in the ones that you have seen. Ellie, this is my digital avatar. I don't know if you've ever seen it before. I do apologize if it's off-putting, but I'm feeling self. I'm
Hello,
feeling.
yes. This is my appearance. I must apologize for it.
I must apologize for it. Uh, I'm feeling self-conscious because I have bad allergies this time of year, and my nose is really runny and stuff like that. And so this guy here, he has hands too.
Whoa!
I forgot that he has hands.
Whoa!
So
Oh my god!
oh my gosh. Okay. So hey, it's gonna be a fun episode. I love the reactions of people coming in. They're like, "Oh my!" In years from now, people will just be used to seeing digital Sohail. As
But
I was
it'll be
saying
better,
before,
right? But it
it'll
looks better though. I feel like if we were streaming in like 480p, it would look even better. You know what I mean?
yeah, I agree. And oh hey, nice to see Chuck here. Joanne's here. Art says, "I'm animated and reviewing animated, so it's perfect." So yeah, it
All right,
is.
everyone, smash the like button. If not
Oh
for the
yeah,
animated Sahel, for the real one. You know what I mean?
it's true. So, Toddy, before we get into this, just a couple of channel channel updates tonight. So we do these things whenever they're on Fridays. We do them as part of like a kind of a group thing called TQIF. Thank you, it's Friday. So this is just another one of those TQIFs. We're on the eve of the Star Trek Day weekend. So Star Trek Day is Sunday. You know that, right?
Well, technically, it should be thank the koala. It's Friday now. You know what I mean?
That is actually really good too. But I still like to thank Q. Q was the first. Q was my first.
The first maker of Fridays.
The first maker of Fridays was Q. So after this episode of Starfleet Sohail, and when we're done reviewing the last flight, last flight of the Protostar, tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern time, go check out Text Track. They're going to be celebrating their 300th episode. Isn't that crazy?
That's wild. What?
It is pretty
Oh
wild.
my God.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Yeah. Jesus.
And sorry to be a little bit of a kind of a dick again, but yeah, I mean, when I reached 300 episodes,
he has no body. Where's the body? Ah!
When I reached 300 episodes, I remember it was a big deal. So I feel like it's.
What was that, like 1,000 episodes ago?
That was like a while ago. We're at like 5. I forget which this is. This is like 538 or something like that.
It's
so
ridiculous. Yeah, it's a mess on your channel too, because some of them are in like the videos tab, others are in like the live tab. It's all a big jumble now.
How do I fix that? Well, we'll talk about it. Do you know how to do all that stuff?
I don't think you can. I think you can just create playlists, maybe.
Oh, I'm behind on that too. I'm so behind. I really need like an assistant or a husband who also.
Database One.
You remember Database One? That's cool. I need a Database One or a husband who's willing to just do all this stuff for me. I'll take care of the.
That's part of the husband attributions. It's like part of the tasks.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, it would be really perfect if I got married to someone who really loved doing video editing and loved Star Trek and like all that. That would be
what
really.
You're looking for as an employee, right? Not so much a husband.
Like I feel like marriages are institutions of some kind. You know, they're kind of like you're an employee to your marriage if you think about it.
Okay.
You know, you're the institution of marriage. You guys are working hard to make sure it's successful. You each labor, for it, right? Like that's a good analogy. Anyways, so yeah, those are the two those are the channel updates. That's the exciting thing. So Toddy, we're here to talk about the last flight. Yeah, last flight of the Protostar, Part 1 and Part 2. Part 1 was directed by Rowland Lee and Andrew L. Schmidt, and it was written by Deandra Pendleton. And Part 2 was directed by Shung Shin and Alex Hansen, and it was written by. Oh wait, sorry, did I not update these? Because I think that was last week's. Maybe I did.
I don't.
Oh, it was sorry. Because... Shung Shin was the director. Yeah. Alex Hansen and Aaron J. Waukee wrote it, so I did have I had the notes right, but they were just like my handwriting's atrocious. I apologize.
Yeah, because Shung Shin is someone that's directed quite a few episodes of Prodigy this season. I think.
Yeah, this season I feel like absolutely. We got to do an episode where we kind of go dive. We used to do that where we would dive deep into kind of find
the background of who these
people
are.
Yeah, the
what
who's
they've
who
done,
behind it. Yeah.
Who they've done it for.
We love your work, folks, and we know Mr. Walkie. We know Aaron because he comes around, and I've interacted with some of the other writers on
the good old Aaron.
Everyone's Aaron's good. He's good, Aaron. Literally,
he's a good lad.
So let's see what happens in this episode. Well, the biggest thing is we find out what Chakotay's been doing for 10 years. Marooned.
We get a mini montage.
Yeah,
a mini one.
You know, a little mini montage, yeah, showing you his daily kind of routine. We have discovered somehow that Chakotay has gotten really hot. Incredibly, he has. He's such a babe now. I'm like, I might be on that Chakotay tip.
Maybe it's because he's animated.
It could be. It could be that the animation has improved.
How does Robert Beltran feel about like not being hot, like or not being as hot as his animated counterpart? Is that something
I
that?
mean, I don't know, but if I well, look at me. I feel like right now
No, no,
my
no,
real
no, no,
life
no.
self.
Don't be talking about your animated version, please. Like, no way. But I do feel like it's kind of a thing. It's like once you get into an anime show, like, yo, can you just, bump me up a bit, make me a little better? You know what I mean? We can animate this, so just
That's
give me a bit
totally
of spice,
yeah. It's supposed to be an idealized form. 10 years of push-ups and squats, and Ellie says he was always hot. So, yeah, I mean he was always good looking, but I don't know. He's exceptionally hot, and with the beard and like just he's so fit and
I
like
think
I don't
it's
know. He's
maybe
just
like
like
the survivalist, fishing man in the clouds kind of like vibe to him. He's got that vibe. He's
he's
that
like
one with the
something's changed.
mountain.
Well, he's also so going back to kind of like talking about what's going on, but he's also had quite a bit of trauma to deal with and maybe process not so well, but he's on his own and kind of he and Hollow Janeway have been making do. At first he was with Adreek because they escaped together, but then Adreek went missing, and we later find out Adreek's fate, of course, is that he died, and I was really sad about that because Adreek was my episode husband, and I really, I really yes, yes, remember?
Yeah, you're not into it yet, but he died. He was a valiant, like I don't. He was a hero, basically. He didn't die like
Yeah, he
a
was a hero.
a nobody.
Anyways, the kids arrive. They're so excited to see Chakotay. They explain the whole thing. By the way, really well. When I was watching it, I was like, it's a really good explanation of like if I didn't, you know, they just like really did a good job of explaining like why
It's
there's
almost as
they
if you were a child, watching this show, and the exposition dump was really well handled, so that the child could really know what's going on. It's almost as if it was well developed that way.
almost no, definitely. But so yeah, they explain the whole situation, and they say that in order to stop the loom and all this disaster, they need to save Chakotay, bring back the Protostar, and Bob's your uncle. But Chakotay is not having it. He
No,
doesn't want to risk. Nope, doesn't want to risk any more lives. Doesn't even really want to leave. I mean, who would want to leave when you're eating
the line
caviar
must be
every
drawn
day?
here.
Who wants to leave when you're eating caviar? But he eventually gives in and gives them shelter on the Protostar. Janeway tells the whole story of kind of what's
He
been
gives
going
them
on.
shelter because of the
The
vicious
ion storm.
ion
Yeah,
storms that are
vicious. Yeah,
happening. Like
exactly.
they was gonna die. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
They were gonna
exactly.
stay
Yeah,
outside.
I really loved seeing the Protostar again, and I loved one of the things, the details I really enjoyed was, I felt bad about it, but I thought
Mm.
was cool, I should say, is how she the protostar was kind of I guess the ion radiation has taken its toll on the hull, and so the hull was like not as smooth, and it was like kind of battered, and it looked like it had
Mm.
taken a few hits of lightning and stuff like that. So I really like the kind of those kinds of details and stuff like that. But anyways, um the kids kind of reconnect with Hollow Janeway, and so do we emotionally. I mean, I don't know about you, Toddy, but this whole first episode was really, especially those sequences like with Hollow Janeway and stuff like that, was just like after last season's kind of heavy toll, really like it really hit the heartstrings when I was
Oh
watching it
yeah,
this time.
absolutely.
But but anyways, Dal gets the idea to. Let me put
I'm
this up
sorry.
here.
He's
No, this
he's
is
small.
great.
He's smoldering. Look at that. Look how
He's so
sexy
look at
that
how
is.
he's really sexy. I was so
Come on.
Oh, and I love this detail that he carves. Ooh, we'll leave you in charge of the visual presentation for this episode. That'll be your jobs. One of your jobs.
The visual presentation.
Yeah, the visual presentation. We've been lacking on that on Starfleet So Hail. They do a great job over on Text Trek, by the way, if you want to go see that. Also, I saw the Salon was in the audience. Shout out to the Salon. Go check out the replay if you didn't go check
No
them
matter how
out
many episodes you
already.
have, you still have room to improve. You know, it's not because you've released 17,000 episodes that you have good visual presentation. That's the lesson here.
It's
We need
true.
to get better.
You you have a really great visual presentation behind you, might I
I know, right?
add. So where was I? Oh yeah. So you know, Dow goes out. What was it? Why was it he wanted to go find Adreek, right? Or like where Adreek had gone, because that's where the. Am I mixing it right now? I could be mixing it. It's been like a week
Look at that.
since I
Look at
saw it.
that.
That is beautiful. Uh, I forget why Dow ventures out or leaves now. What was it? You can't remember either, Toddy. Shame on you.
Dal. Dal has to go get ropes or sticks or something. He has to go get something to like help fix the ship or whatever, or food or whatever it is. He's given like a nonsense task to go and just find something. Your avatar looks like angry at me, but is still trying to smile. It's not processing well what it is I'm saying here. Um,
Well, anyways, he goes out and he has a
he's
little like
he's
he goes
sent to
out.
find something of
I
like
forget what it. Oh
use.
damn!
It's useful, but it's kind of like the throwaway job.
Audience, help us out here. We're blank.
And
We're old men and
he
we're blank. Well, you're not
he
old,
he,
but
he ends up being kind of a off
chased
screen
by these.
attacked. Yeah.
Right, he starts getting attacked, and then that leads him to hide in the cave where we find him later. So they go out to look for him. Chakotay gets it together. Oh, that's what it was. And then so when he's gone for too long in the storm, that's when they have to dispatch the runaway, which can fly. That was a cool detail.
It's the most Batmobile vehicle I have seen in Star Trek to date,
It's one of my favorite Trek
but it's really
vehicles. I hope
cool.
they, yeah. um, but anyways, so they. Oh, you got some more screenshots coming up here. Look at you. Here, let me put this back up here. How do I do this?
How do I show it flying?
Uh,
Anyway, here they are. They found Dal.
there we go. So yeah, and Dow's kind of standing shot. Well, anyways, they go out to search for him, and uh, they find him in this cave with all these like crystals that are absorbing the energy from the ion storm. And poor Adreek is there, and Chakotay has a moment, and he discovers that Adreek was successful in harvesting antimatter. Look at you! These visuals are helping me. That's all I needed was some visuals. Thank you.
There you go.
Are these from screenshots that you did, or you just found them on the online?
On the online. Well, I'm going through the episode.
Oh, very nice. You're doing a good job.
Look at him. Look at him.
So yeah, look at him. So they get back to the ship and they
Come
decide
on,
that
even Hollow Janeway's in love with him.
she she totally is. He looks great. I mean, he really does. It's very distracting. That's why I can't remember what happens in the episodes. I'm like totally distracted
In the
by.
back of my mind is an unrelated thing happening, all right, throughout the whole episode. I keep on wondering when Zero's body is gonna start going away and how that's gonna present itself. If it's gonna like deteriorate, if it's just gonna rot, or if it's just gonna start, I don't know, peeling away like an onion. Like I don't. I'm 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 kind of worried about that.
That's valid. I was also worried about it at this point. I
Mm.
won't tell you. I won't tell you obviously what happens, but that's a good thing to be worried about. Um but anyway, so yeah, so episode 1 ends with them deciding
Ends. It
to
ends. Black
it
screen. See that?
ends yeah, with them
So good.
deciding to make it a go. In episode 2, we start off on Voyager, actually, who are recuperating from their struggles with the loom. And we get my favorite uh, cameo ever of the season. We get Dr. Crusher when Admiral Janeway reaches out to her to talk to her about Wesley, because at first they're like doubting Wesley's intention. Oh, she's doubting like Wesley's intentions. Like he is a
Mm, mm.
traveler, he is someone, but she's like kind of worried about her crew and stuff like that. And so then, did I make it go away? Oh, here, let's get Bev.
No, I think it's because I closed my sharing window to
Oh,
open
I
the next
gotcha.
episode.
There we
So
go.
there she
There we
is.
go. There she is. Look how good she looks. This was such a great moment. What a nice connection to like we see what she's up to. And by the way,
I
you
wanted
have
I
go ahead,
wanted
what's that?
Jack to just walk by behind.
No, but well, he's at school. She's in London.
Mm.
You could
I,
see I think you could see London behind her. And so yeah, he's
I
there.
wanted him to walk by.
Oh, that's sweet. Cake says, "Sorry, I really think Wesley could have stopped in now and then." Um, I
Yeah,
think
I agree.
I think that's like something that you know it must be something that he wants to do, but obviously the nature of his existence now like kind of prevents him from doing that. So yeah. I don't know.
I
We'll
am
talk more about that at
curious
the end of the
as to
season.
why they went with the short hair. Um,
I love it, and I love the gray
I don't
too. I like that
care.
she's embracing her gray.
No, but gray is fine because I mean she was already pretty gray, I think, or white in Picard, right?
Yeah, yeah, she was well, she had like highlights and stuff. I think that like her hair was like different colors, like different shades of
Okay,
gray, I guess,
okay.
between gray and white.
I'm just intrigued as to why they didn't necessarily like go with I would say like exactly the same hair as they would in Picard because usually shows that are trying to connect like like we've all seen like Solo like the movie like they give him the exact same props as like we've seen Han Solo have like throughout all of the other movies. So usually they try to like visually connect like that. So I would have thought that they would have tried to like visually connect her that way, but they didn't.
It's I guess so, but I mean, I feel like there's enough
It's not at
time
all a
before.
complaint. It might even be like praise
No,
actually,
but
to
I'm
be
just saying
honest.
time
But
frame wise, like Picard, the series, like when we see her again, is still probably another like, 5 or 6, maybe more years. It's
no,
more than that, I
Jesus, it's
think.
like 20 years after or something
Yeah,
like
so it's
that.
20 years after. So I don't think that they needed to connect it. I think I agree maybe with some of the audience where a little surprised at how much gray is there, but like then again, that could just be a style choice. Like I remember living in Seattle and there were a lot of younger women, uh, probably in their mid 20s, early 30s at the time that were also making their hair purposely gray, like going to
Mm,
dyeing it gray on purpose so that it looked like they had gray hair, which was cool. If I
it
had
is
hair,
very.
I
It
might try
is.
that as
Well,
well.
we'll finish your recap and then we'll talk about this.
Yeah, I figure. Well, the recap kind of is the discussion in a way with some of these episodes. But yeah, I'm almost there. So like, so anyways, so Voyager, so she's like, they have this like sweet conversation about like, motherhood and like, Janeway's like, well, you have the motherly instinct, and
Okay,
she,
fine. I'll say it now. Screw the recap. I'll say it now. I found it very nice to have a Beverly perspective because we don't
right, that,
often have a Beverly's perspective. Like often it was very much from like Wesley's side, or it's coming at Beverly from like Picard's point of view. Um, but here we're kind of like, and I know that we're technically with Janeway here talking to Beverly, but here we just have Beverly Crusher, the mother, not necessarily the doctor or the scientist or anything. It's just Beverly Crusher, the mother, talking about her relationship or lack thereof, as it stands at the moment, of like with Wesley Crusher, and I found it nice. It was a bit disheartening to hear that he wasn't really around.
yeah,
I don't remember what they said about that in Picard, if they even addressed Wesley. I don't think they did. Um, so I feel like, and maybe this is just bullshit speculation, but I feel like it's maybe something that we could earn at the end of this season of Prodigy, a little, a little hi hello, like a little I'm gonna drop by like even if we don't see them together on screen, it would be nice for Wesley to be like, I'm finished with you guys. You know what? I should take some time to go see my mom. because at the end of the day, he's saving the whole bloody timeline because of her. You know what I mean? Like this is, or thanks to her. You know what I mean? He wants to be in this timeline because this character that we're seeing on screen is in this timeline. So it
Right.
makes
Like
sense for
Wesley's
me.
actually Wesley has learned how to live in the multiverse. Like he doesn't have the same understanding of timelines as we do, but like you said, this one is sentimental to him because it's the one he came from. So
Mm,
even though it's like we talked about last week, I feel like that holds true, but I really love what you said about Beverly here because it is true and also this is just like a great kind of moment where, we think of Beverly as such a mother. At least I do. I think of her as like my space mom as well. I know, I know that's what Will Wheaton calls her, but I feel like a lot of us Star Trek fans have adopted her as our space moms, as well. but
mm.
uh, but here she talks about like how being a captain, isn't being captaining a crew or commanding a crew rather isn't that far off from you know from from being a mother or being a father or being a parent in general, like you're responsible for them. So I like the advice that Dr. Crusher gives here about you know uh hey, like sometimes as a mother, you just have to kind of let your kids come back to you and be there for them when they do make it back. So,
Mm.
no sense in worrying too much. Just go try to find them and be there for them. And I like that.
Well,
I love
Janeway,
that
she has
advice. Yeah.
a good track record with like leaving her lizard babies behind and not really looking back and
Right.
letting them
Janeway
do what
especially
they.
would need this kind of mothering mothering perspective or motherly perspective. It's true. what
No, but she
a
she was
whatever
very
happened to those poor
mothering.
salamanders?
She was very mothering to 2 7 of 9. You know what I mean? And I think that in a lot of respects, she was also somewhat mothering to Balana. Like I feel like that. I mean, you could say that to everyone in her crew. You know what I mean? Um, but no, I feel like she did a good job at like helping people out
Yeah.
with as many personal issues as it was, like professional issues. See, I don't think Picard was that invested in like the personal lives of his crew necessarily. When it came to Worf, yes, because he always wanted to flex at how good he was with like Klingon culture.
You're talking about Picard the captain, but I think he
Yes,
became more
Picard the
interest.
TNG, yeah, Picard the TNG
Right.
captain.
Yeah, I think by the films you see him really changing, to more of that figure, especially when he realizes he's not going to have kids, and then of course we get even more of a interesting evolution to that in Picard season 3. So yeah, lots of cool stuff to unpack there. so anyways, back on the planet, which had a cool name. It's Ysida, I think, or Ysida. Back on the planet, they spent days retrofitting the protostar so she can float across that beautiful looking sky. The planet has a different. I love the planet's like uh, the way nature is on the planet, like this, like
the the
the
concept of
fluid.
it
Yeah,
is
the concept of it, the
insane.
fluid,
It's
the fluid kind
amazing.
of air, like all that kind of stuff, like the eels, the different creatures, the ion storms, of
Those are the
course, all that
shrieking
crazy.
eels.
So yeah, so they retrofit the protostar, they get her ready to go airborne because the plan is, and I've been saying all my life, Bussard collectors, but apparently it's Bussard collectors, which I kind of like the way that sounds, like Bussard.
No, no.
But
I'm gonna say
but
buzzard collectors.
but so the plan is to get them to get the protostar going to this area that has what is it, deuterium in gaseous form, which is at the heart of the storm there, and recharge the Bussard collectors and get the impulse power and then the warp power going, and they do it. It's a really fun action sequence. I was like really even watching it again, for the notes, like just taken by it. Like I was like, ooh, yeah. I hardly took notes because I was like so into it. But anyways, they long story short, Chakotay goes overboard, and Dal has to save him. And then in the nick of time, they make it back to the Protostar. She lights up and gets goes back out into the stars, and we await the next episode, which is named A Tribble Called Quest. I did it in 30 minutes. Look at that. I did.
A Tribble Called Quest.
Yeah, Tribble Called Quest.
Which is a reference to.
A Tribe Called Quest, which I
Oh
thought
my
you
god,
might
he
be excited.
knows.
Yeah, I thought you might be really excited about that.
It's
So
like, does
Tony,
he
what do you
know?
think
Does
of
he know?
what do you think of this episode? This is the second two-parter of we
It
had
is the
a
second two-parter.
it's two-parter mania.
This worked for me like on a lot of levels. Like conceptually speaking, like I think the planet was wonderful. I'm always not complaining, but I'm always one to advocate for like seeing more fauna and flora on planets. I like the wildlife, and like I got plenty of it. Like we know how to live on this planet, or we've at least seen like one of the parts of this planet. You know what I mean? Like this mountain range, this dune mountain range, the dunes of
Right.
Arrakis. So this was great. I really loved that. I loved like seeing Chakotay again. Uh, I loved hearing about like the story, I guess, of his crew, and especially what's his face, Birdman, a bird person, that died. It was really really cool seeing how well our little crew of like kids work, and work together. And it was really nice to see, like, to have this kind of like theme of, and they address it explicitly, of like giving the passion of captaining, so to speak, back to um Chakotay,
Chakotay.
right? And seeing him like come back to life with that, it was really cool. There's just enough techno babble to get along with like the science of it all. Like the he was collecting the thing in the canister. There's also kind of like the fantastical element to it. Like we're now floating on these clouds of, I guess it's a ship now. It's like a boat, a cloud boat. It was great. And then of course, what was happening with Captain Janeway was awesome too. I loved it. It was great. Fantastic episode.
Fantastic couple of episodes. So yeah, I agree. I love this episode.
Well, it's
I
one
think
big
Jill.
episode. Come on.
It is one big episode. Jill in the audience was saying this is her favorite um, of the season. I think. Um, I don't know if that's true. Remind me, Jill. I think. Well, there was a tweet. There
I
was a nice tweet about it. So
I know
yeah,
the
she
format.
did say.
I know the format is 23 minutes, and there's surely a reason for that. But considering we've had, I think, 3 two-parters at this point, like, and we're only 12 episodes in to the season, and we've had like 3 two-parters, like, you know, because it's released this way, I have to end one episode. Like, I have to end part 1 and then begin part 2. But honestly, if it were just one continuous 45-minute episode, it would flow seamlessly. And I feel like Prodigy works just as well, if not better, in like 45-minute episode format than it does in 23. If
Yeah.
Netflix or someone were to like wake up and actually release a season 3, start production and go ahead with season 3, I don't think they would need to be limited to the current format. Like, they wouldn't need to. If they wanted to do like a 45-minute thing, they could.
Yeah, I personally like having 20 episodes. So I like the shorter formats, but watching on a binge, they do really go well together, and you almost forget. It can almost be like 3 episodes could feel like one story, depending on how you're watching it. A friend of ours,
Well,
Marcelo, has been doing these cuts where he'll take out the credits and everything and just put it all as like one big movie and stuff. And I think Prodigy would definitely play really well in that format where it's like, oh, what just
yeah.
happened? That was
You're
weird.
flipping us. Absolutely. No, because see, Lower Decks is interesting in the sense that I feel like the 23-minute format works for Lower Decks. Like, Lower Decks is the concept is you have to pack as many jokes as you can. It all goes very quick. You know what I mean? It's a lot of quips. It's a lot of. So I feel like 45 minutes of that could be a little. I wouldn't say no to it necessarily. You know what I mean? But I think that it's better suited for being shorter. Like that's the kind of
Right.
style that it is. Whereas Prodigy is like literally, except for the fact that it's animated, it's the closest thing to like a live action Star Trek, like a drama, like a Deep Space Nine kind of thing that you could have. Truly.
I feel, yeah. Do you think, as a Voyager fan, do you think of it like similar to Picard, where you're catching up with these characters that you haven't seen in a long time, and does it feel the same?
Yes. Oh
Like
yeah,
it,
it feels
yeah,
the same.
yeah,
Actually, you know what? I feel like Prodigy to Voyager is superior than Picard to TNG, in what it's doing.
because
To
it's a
be
whole
to
new
be
show. It's not even like, it's not like the Voyager 2 show or the Janeway show. It's a whole new show, but they
No,
managed to somehow bring
yeah,
in
it's
elements
it's
of
truly
the other.
truly brilliant, because and it's really not to shit on Picard, but like the idea behind Picard, like the first two seasons, and it's like it's choices, but like the first two seasons is kind of like we're doing a different thing, and then the third season is we're going to really tie up and wrap up TNG. So you've got kind of like the two extremes, and that's like one idea or one way of exploring it. You can do one extreme or the other. Whereas Prodigy has found more of like the middle ground, where it's like we're not going to necessarily ignore what happened or just go a different direction entirely, because we're going to bring these characters in, and they're going to be very, very strong, like driving elements in the story. Because Janeway and Chakotay are like driving forces of the Prodigy story.
We've got all,
But
and
also
like we have the
when we're
Doctor
not,
too. I mean, like that's a
yeah, we've
great,
got
that's a
Joe.
reunion. Like that's
Um,
a nice reunion.
so yeah, no, it's I think it's very well balanced. It's very well done. It's I think um one of the best ways to kind of like sequel a show. You know what I mean? You have just enough of the like original DNA to really make it feel like a sequel, but it's enough of its own show to be its own thing.
Like, right, like it very much feels like the show is about the prodigies, like the kids, and that
Yes.
it still feels like it's their show, but it's wonderful how they're able to like bring in just the right elements of that. That was a nice balance too. Like in episode 1, you spent the whole time on the planet. I don't think we ever went to Voyager, right? That was the whole in part 1 of this two-parter, and then in part 2, that's when we go back to Voyager and see more of what's going on in the wider
Mm.
kind of scope. And I do like
Which
what
is a Voyager thing to do, actually. Like Voyager did spend time on planets. Like sometimes it like, they would crash the ship, or they would simply land the ship because they needed to, fix
right.
up or get resources. There was a whole episode with Janeway and Chakotay bloody stranded together. You know what I mean? Which is kind of where a lot of the fan fiction comes from.
Can you imagine all the fan fiction for oh, hey, Ruben's in the audience, that's cool. Can you imagine all the fan fiction that people are going to create for Hollow Janeway and
Do you
Chakotay?
think that Hollow Janeway and Chakotay got a little unprofessional?
I do think that that did not happen
Oh, come
because
on. You're no fun.
I mean, I think that Chakotay did
Some off-screen
probably
action. Come on.
I think Chakotay probably became unprofessional in the holodeck, but not with Hollow Janeway. I think it would have been, you know,
Okay, so Hollow Janeway was watching. Is that what you're saying?
no, because you can't just always watch, right?
Well, she
She can't
knows.
watch him be unprofessional. What?
She knows, right? She's aware.
I think
Do you
no.
think Hollow Janeway was just like awkwardly on the bridge,
I
waiting
think you
for
can
like something
have.
to happen
I
while
think
he was
this is
having
how it.
this,
I think this is how it goes. Like you're feeling like you want to be unprofessional, and so you're getting ready to go to the holodeck to be unprofessional, and you go computer privacy mode, and Hollow Janeway just shuts off for like 2 hours or however
Mm.
amount of time you want to be unprofessional. And then when you're ready to go back to duty, you just say like privacy mode off computer. And then Hollow Janeway's like, "Oh, I see you turned privacy mode on for 2 hours. What were you up to, Chakotay?"
Mm-hmm.
And then they have a laugh, and that's it.
Somebody stirred your coffee. So,
Oh, that stirred my coffee.
Okay, okay, okay. Because that's a long time your boy stayed on that planet. You know what I mean?
10 years, there's no way you're going to be professional the whole time, Toddy. Like, it's impossible. I think. I don't know. Maybe some people might be able to
And
stay
you're looking
professional.
like sexier and sexier every year. You know what I mean? Come on.
Maybe he was unprofessional with himself. I don't know.
Ooh,
It could,
what a
could be.
thing. Computer, create another me.
Cake says, Cake's perspective here. They were like an old married couple, have to live with each other, still love each other, but no more sex. Oh, we were talking about professional. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, what are you talking about? We weren't talking about that.
Yeah, we were talking about that. Uh, that's so funny. Jill,
He was
you're
alone with a Dreek for a while. Cake says.
yes, he was alone with the Drake for a while, but Adric was gone. For how long? Did they say how long in into their 10 years that
I don't
happened? It
know.
happened at some point. Um, so what did you
They
think
have no
of
lower deckers to clean out the holodeck. That's the problem. So you need to clean out your holodecks yourself. That's what's going on.
You don't need to clean holodecks. That's a lower decks thing that, maybe on the Cerritos, but holodecks have self-cleaning
Okay. Or you think it's hazing?
mechanisms.
You think there's like a self cleaning, but when you want to give them like a bit of a some work to do, you don't turn on the self cleaning. You tell them to go and clean it.
Yeah. You can have remember there's all these robots too that we don't ever see in TNG, but they're there. They're all we know they're yeah,
Robots. Yeah,
they're
fair
all
enough.
like there. We just never see them, but they're there. You feathered fool, that
Well,
was sad.
TNG they don't have dots because they've got plenty of carpet, so they have Roombas everywhere, basically. Just driving around, cleaning the carpets.
I think that's I think that's like definitely happening. Like or lasers. It is more realistic. I was fooled just now. I thought I was looking at me. But
You know. No,
yeah, I
but
was like,
this one
wait,
isn't as jarring as the first. Like the first attempt was
you
really
guys are getting
no.
you're getting used to it.
Well, we're improving. I feel like we're improving.
Cakes like we're
I,
talking
I'm
about
willing.
carpets.
I'm willing to meet. I'm willing to meet the AIU halfway if it makes the effort to look better every time.
It's gonna happen. You won't be able. There will be a time where you won't be able to tell. It'll be weird. But anyways,
When that
um,
time comes, I want you to not tell me.
so so Toddy, this is the moment we've been waiting for in Prodigy is rescuing Chakotay.
It is.
What what was the what was the thing that surprised you the most about kind of just the character in general and the scenario and how it all played out from what you were expecting, I guess. How did you think it was going to go down? Cuz you did you think that there was a possibility that we would never rescue Chakotay, that he'd always be lost, or, that kind of thing? Like, so how did it go versus your expectations and what actually happened?
No, I wasn't. I think I wasn't really surprised by what we got. Like, I feel like the episodes did a good job at kind of driving my anticipation towards where we went, if that makes sense. Like, there was no grand reveal or huge surprise for me. Like, I felt like Chakotay he wasn't involved in any time shenanigans. He wasn't a time lord of any kind. Like I wasn't confused on that, and we'd kind of moved past that because we knew now that Wesley was the kind of like the helping hand in all of this.
Mhm.
And we knew also that at this point, like Chakotay's mission was really just he was the captain of the Protostar. He was doing his Protostar thing, and then all of this happened, and he was like his mission was then to protect the Protostar and hide it somewhat, at all costs. And so that's kind of like what I was going to find. I guess the one thing that surprised me was that he's more serene than I thought he would be. And I know that he's a bit kind of like angry in the beginning. Like he's very negative. Like, no, I'm not going to help you. Or I don't want to do this. This is my mission. I'm doing this. And because he's dealing, emotionally with, the loss of like the crew and basically, I mean, his life at this point, but he does feel,
Well, remember from Chakotay's perspective, also, he thinks until the kids tell him, and he still doesn't trust them, of course, but he also thinks that the virus is going to destroy Starfleet and the Federation. So
yeah, but he's kind of come. I feel like he's at peace with the idea of him, like his responsibility and his mission is to be on this dune with this ship. Like that's what he does. You know what I mean? Like he's got a companion, he's got a friend. Whether he was unprofessional or not is yet to be determined with Hollow Janeway. But like at least they get along. He can talk to her. She's maybe not as advanced a system as like say what the Doctor has become. In terms of programming and maybe like being on a planet with like a broken ship and limited resources, she could never really expand that much. But it's no way and in no way like a rudimentary program. So it's valid enough to be like a friend and a companion for the years to come. And I feel like he's just accepted that. And it's not. I don't know. It was interesting. It was nice.
And he's very. I found interesting how protective he was. He's like my ship. I also thought it was really cool about this, like the whole like as the story progressed, like they were like, well, she's our ship too. It was cool that the Protostar had two destinies basically. Like one was to be with Chakotay, and the other destiny was to be with the kids. And it like that's what we're in this whole like flux or whatever because of the fact that they have to kind of align those two destinies now and like bring them to whole, and that kind of happens in the span of these two episodes, like through the story, like at first he very much rejects them, and they're like, this is Chakotay, like what's happened to him. He's kind of like, what does Dal say, something about like this is what he kind of calls him out. He's like, this is what Starfleet trains its captains to do.
Yeah, this is
just,
not
like,
the
give up.
example that like he's expecting, right? Especially like the
Right.
contrast between Admiral Janeway captaining her
Right.
ship. You know what I mean? Then you get to like to Chakotay, like this kind of like grumpy, grizzled, broken old man. But like, yeah, but
And
he kind of snaps out of it. You know what I mean? But
he does snap out of it. It is, yeah.
It's beautiful because you're watching a show. It's very meta all the time. The show is very, very meta in the way it's structured because you're watching a show. I mean, either your kids watching this or you're with your kids. Like the idea is you have youth, or if it's not youth, you have new people into Star Trek. You know what I mean? Discovering this world and discovering all the positivity that can come from it. And to have like thematically these kids use their drive, their know-how, their can-do, and their positive attitudes to kind of bring back this guy.
To give him purpose again, really.
Yeah,
he's kind of like lost his purpose and stuff. Yeah,
it's heartwarming. It's very well done. Jesus Christ, it's well done.
It is super well done. I also thought another poignant kind of moment was, how the kids kind of just like they're so happy to see Hollow Janeway again. Like that to me was one of the sweetest things. And like she says, like, I don't know why, but like I really want to believe you that I really want to believe you that I've known you. Like it feels like it, you know what I mean? And I do believe, there's all this timey-wimey stuff that's been going on, and like timelines are in flux and stuff like that. So I don't know. Like at that point, I don't want to. Well, okay, it just feels to me like there is that connection for real. Like I do think that I believe it. I believe it too. In other words, I do think that it's there.
So I'm going to carry on down like a different path from where you're going, because I don't know where the hell you're going with this. You're going to spoiler territory, but
yeah, I had to stop myself. It's hard to
in the idea that this is for like growing kids and what have you, and that everyone's very different. You know what I mean? Everyone's different, be it physically or psychologically, in the experiences that they have culturally. Everyone's very different. And I think that one of the driving forces keeping Star Trek alive for so long has been that everyone's differences are not only accepted, because accepting is one thing, you know what I mean, but it's more so welcomed and utilized, you know what I mean? Like, Jordy, why are you grumpy now? What's going on? Okay, that was the
It's when I
sneezing
when I
face.
yeah, when I was blowing my nose, it was like
Oh my god. I was like, now he's mad at me.
I'll just mute myself like I normally do when I have to blow my nose.
Okay.
So
What so Jordy is blind, so he has the visor, but that's never seen as like a disadvantage. On the contrary, we have like a different almost advantage, because now we can see how people see, but we can also see how he sees through the visor. And then depending on the situation, we can use that. It's a new tool, it's a different tool. And so it's really cool to see like all of these different kids that like they're from different species. What's going on? I'm trying to say something.
go
They're
go
all
go.
from
Sorry.
they're all from different species. They all have different like advantages, disadvantages, all these different kind of like aspects to them. And like one of them's even got like a metal hand, you know what I mean? And at no point, I think I don't know, I feel like making a point about saying that at no point um is there ever anything negative said about like the fact that anyone has any kind of difference. Like I think Chakotay even like I think he barely even mentions that like Gwyn is like of the people that, you know what I mean, like wage war and start basically like the timeline shenanigans. You know what I mean? Like it's really truly accepting of everyone. And even if it's subconscious, it's a message that I think is very important for like the kids watching.
I get what you're saying 100%, and I think that's like kind of really represented in the different personality types of the kids too. Like Jankum, some people might find him annoying, for various reasons, and the same thing with Dal. Each of the kids have their like quirks or whatever. And I think it kind of like encompasses personality types that we see in out there in the
Mm,
real
mm.
world, and I think that like that's the really neat thing about having a crew of 7, I think, is because like you can have like a lot of different kind of like people to relate to and stuff like that. But I also do think that like, hearing about the way you were
Murph
talking
and
about
Rock,
like
like Murph and Rock, are completely out there. You know what I mean, in terms of like
yeah,
character
yeah.
design and just personalities and the way they
But their
are.
personalities aren't like to me Rock Talk is like that very kind of, the kid who's like needs like a little extra encouragement to do things that are outside of their comfort zone, you know what I
Mm.
mean? Like Rock's always like, "Do I
But
have to come too?" And then Dale's like, "We
it,
might need your strength, like
it
to
works so
pull the
well
wires or
with
whatever." Yeah,
Chakotay. You know what I mean?
right.
Like
That's well, that's what I was getting at too, is what you made me think of is there is like a natural nurturing parent dynamic that automatically took place that's healing Chakotay, I think, because it's different. Like the fact that they're young and inexperienced and need that encouragement and need the support, and he's seeing that they're like trying really hard, like you said, they're like so like they're determined and their determination and everything is there, but they just need that extra parentage, if you will. And he totally takes on the role
mm,
of Daddy Chakotay, and yeah, I love it for a different reason, but yeah, it's totally it's totally something
for an
that
unprofessional
they
reason.
need for yeah, I feel, yeah, he's Daddy Chakotay for them professionally, but for me it's unprofessional for sure. But yeah, great points. What else is there to say about this episode? More like Zaddy, that's true. Cumberland
Visually,
Trev
it's
says.
absolutely stunning. Like I showed a couple pictures, back when you were doing the recap, but like just being on the planet it's wonderful to behold. You know what I mean?
I
Like
wouldn't mind being marooned there, would you? Like that's a cool. Speaking of 10 years on
okay,
the
okay.
Protostar, is your house?
Chakotay is a guy that he went hunting and fishing and did the wildlife kind of stuff with his father in his youth. Like he's accustomed to that kind of stuff. We saw when he's stranded with Janeway, like they each have their strengths, but he's very much kind of like the survival kind of guy. You know what I mean? Like if there were like if he was in The Walking Dead, Chakotay would do quite well in terms of survival.
He
Janeway would
already
too,
had those,
but because
but
she
he
would
already
shoot
had
everyone.
those. he already had those skills too. If I remember from the show, he was very
Hmm.
resourceful and knew how to like
Yes.
start a fire or do
Yeah,
those
absolutely.
kinds of things. Yeah. So
I'm not necessarily in that category of people, so I don't know how. Like, if I was with Chakotay, I would do fine. Yeah. If I was
I
alone
don't know.
on that sand
I've
dune,
never I've
I
never
would maybe
been.
be I would
I'm
maybe be
talking about.
attacked by an electric eel, one of those worms.
Well, yeah, I mean, at some point, the ship's stores of energy were low enough that you couldn't even use the replicator, I suppose, and so you have to start figuring it out. But I think any one of us, honestly, Toddy, if we were marooned, if there were enough resources around us, we would figure out how to like survive. Like, and it sounds like obviously he had the Protostar as his like shelter, which is good too. But it
It's not
sounds
just
like
any shelter; it's a bloody Starfleet ship. So yeah, that
yeah,
helps.
it's true. But I mean, he figured it out. Like he and Adric at first, so he wasn't alone. Like we talked about, and yeah, I loved all that. I thought that was really cool. I do feel bad for Chakotay though. He has 10 years of being maroon. That experience is not going to go away for that character, which is interesting because he hasn't been gone 10 years in the timeline, right? That's just because he got marooned in the past. Like, we went to the future to save Chakotay. The Protostar went back into the past, but it went back 10 years too far because they only launched the Protostar like a year or two ago, or 2 years ago. So it's very timey wimey.
We're in the present now, right? Like, where we are now is the present, correct?
Correct.
Okay, yeah. So it's really a situation where, like, he went too far back, and then
He
we
went
had
too
to.
far
It's
back.
kind of like a Nero. Nero went too far back in Star Trek '09, and he just waited around 20 years in the Narada, um, until he
Doing
eventually.
during he just like stared at the ceiling like the whole
Well,
time
he
waiting.
was grieving. I'm gonna say he was
Yeah.
grieving, and he was getting all those grieving tattoos for 20 years. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
he was hyping himself up, like, I gotta, I'm I'm so grieving, and then he went to fucking fight them. He's like, all right, now let's go. So Chakotay is kind of the same thing, except he's just on a planet, on a dune
Yeah.
planet.
Yep. Uh, Another favorite thing, speaking of the production and like the art, was the imagery of the carved crew that he would carve a little effigy or a statue uh, to represent and honor his crew. I thought that was a nice touch. I would like a little Adric wooden Adric. That would be a cool thing to have. That'd be a neat like item.
A Star Trek
Poor
Prodigy
Adric.
chessboard is something that would be pretty cool.
Well, I wouldn't want to play
With the little
chess with
chess
these.
pieces.
I mean, it did look like he was lining them up on a chessboard, but I don't think that's the intention. You don't
No,
want
I
to play
don't think
chess,
so.
right? You don't want to play chess with your dead crew members. My face is distorted because I'm trying to hold back a sneeze. Toddy, let's wrap it up with some final thoughts and ratings for this episode while I go blow my nose.
You're wrapping it up. How intriguing. I thought you were going to go for like 2 hours because we're doing the double episode. But fair enough.
I thought so too, but we did a good job of. I don't know what else to cover on this. Do you have anything else? Because you go, you
No,
go, you
because
go figure.
okay. No, well,
Yeah.
I'll do my final thoughts, my closing thoughts. It is true that there's, I guess, not as much to talk about as other episodes, but it's because the episode is pretty streamlined in terms of like the story that it delivers. It knows exactly what it's doing, and we know where we begin, and it doesn't. It's no bullshit. Like, we get to where we need to be. Um, but it's very effective. It's very powerful, I find. Like, really finding Chakotay after all this time, and then it's heartwarming to see, um, because it's a grand adventure of kind of like two things happening. We've got the kids living their adventure, but we've also got Janeway looking for Chakotay. But here it's the kids that find Chakotay. But it's not like, oh, well, it just so happens that these two groups have found each other. No, it really works because it's the kids that managed to bring back the Chakotay that we were really looking for. um and now like the connection between the kids and Janeway is going to be even stronger uh thanks to that. So I think it works really well. Yeah, we didn't talk about Muff and the sailing. Okay. I really like I really like the kids sailing the ship, you know what I mean, and everyone sailing the ship. And I will say this, um Jankum is, I would say, not annoying anymore. He was a bit annoying. I found like he was a bit annoying in the first season. And that, that could be just personal preference, but I found him a bit annoying. I don't find him annoying anymore. I find that his like he's light and he tells a couple jokes, but he never really bugs me anymore. And I find that Dal is not annoying anymore as well. Like he had moments where he was more annoying than others. Like it wasn't always, but I quite like that Dal has actually grown. Like we've seen Dal grow and progress, and he had a really really good moment with Chakotay, where Chakotay explains to him like there are moments where you have to lead and you have to be in charge and you have to do the grand things, but there are moments where like you gotta go pick up some sticks, you know what I mean? Or you gotta what did he have to do? He had to coil the ropes.
Right.
Like that's what you gotta do. You know what I mean? And it's the same thing. Like I can relate to that at work. You know what I mean? I'm the manager. I have employees, and they look to me for like the help and the guidance. But sometimes it's like I have to go do this. And there are
Right.
certain tasks that like I go and do it. Is it because I need to help them? Sometimes yes, but sometimes it's just like whatever your position is. I feel like sometimes you just need to do something because it needs to be done. And it was nice that he had that kind of chat with Chakotay.
Look at that. We managed to squeeze more discussion out of.
It was because we didn't
um,
talk about them like setting sail, you know,
yeah, I guess
on
so.
the USS Prodigy, on the HMS Prodigy.
You mean Protostar?
Oh yeah, Protostar. Sorry.
Mm.
Mm.
Mm. It is funny that the show is named Prodigy, but the ship is not named Prodigy. Isn't that
I still
interesting?
can't figure out who the Prodigy is. I still can't figure out if
They're all prodigies.
they're all the
Prodigy.
Prodigies.
They're all the
They're all the
prodigies.
Prodigies, and Wesley was like the original Prodigy that we came back to. Why are you?
Yeah.
You're like a ghost on a lake. It's really like honestly, this is the concept for a horror film. Truly, my man's floating in like in Alaska. What's going on?
Things are falling off my desk. My nose is these allergies are so weird. They like come in waves where it's like really intense and then they, kind of settle down for a while. But I agree with I agree with you. So, obviously I have the benefit of having seen the whole season, so I know what's ahead, but without thinking about that too much at this point, I just think it was really a nice like kind of way to like kind of bring us back and center us when all this stuff had been happening, and it's just like a good way to kind of bring us back to the sort of the origin, or like the impetus, or like the reason this show kind of the kind of main mission, which was always to find Chakotay. And I do
Mm-hmm.
agree, I think it's going to be exciting when he's finally reunited with Janeway. Do you think they're going to like profess their feelings for each other? Like, are there really feelings? There's definitely feelings, right? Like that's like no doubt at this point. But
There's got to be something.
Is Chakotay
This
gonna still have those feelings, or is Jane? Like who's
there's got to
sometimes
be something.
feelings. There's got to be
You know what I
something,
mean?
right?
I
Yeah.
can't. This can't be. They can't be doing like a Beverly Picard thing. You know what I mean? Like we gotta have. There's gotta be something. Come on.
That's like so sad, right? Like until well, I mean, Picard kind of resolved that, but I don't know. I feel like the Beverly Picard thing goes on in weird ways, like, but
I mean,
maybe there
sometimes like it reflects real life. You know,
maybe you just
people have
can't
unresolved
have
things.
relationship. Yeah, but and you can't have relationships when you're like the the commander. That's kind of a theme that's throughout. You not that you can't have it, but it's just harder to have it because Cisco does it. Cisco manages to have a relationship that's good with Cassidy Yates, and he had a wife before. So, but it's not for everyone. Some captains, some people can't do it, you know. But I think Janeway and Chakotay, whatever you think, at this point, it seems pretty clear that they're headed for a relationship. It's
I do feel
a
like
little deeper.
it's a natural payoff to like the search for Chakotay because clearly there's a personal investment going on. Like, you know, yes, Chakotay's a friend, but like to see her go this far out of her way and really like, you know, put everyone at risk, it feels very personal. It can't just be because like he was a good first officer once and I want to help him. You know what I mean? Like it feels like there's
Yeah,
more there.
there's
You know,
definitely more.
and would Riker do more um for Deanna than he would do for Picard? Yeah, I would I think so. Like he would go out of his way a lot more to go and like save Deanna. You know what I mean? Which
Right.
makes sense. Um so I feel like this is kind of what we're living through. And then maybe I'm completely wrong. Maybe like they
We'll
meet up
see.
and he's like, I care about you.
Well, these two episodes back to back, I give them both tens, solid tens. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. What about you, Toddy? What's your rating?
Oh my, I haven't actually thought about that. 8.5. This is solid.
We broke past the 8. Finally. That's excellent.
Hold on. Have I not given something past 8 this season already?
I don't know, but you're giving both these episodes an 8.5, which is fantastic.
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay, I didn't really. Oh, come on. I must have. Wait, let me go check. Ratings. Prodigy. Ah, there we go. I gave 8.5 to the 0 episode.
Commodore Trev says, but Riker would also defy orders to save Worf, and they weren't intimate so far as we know. Riker was intimate with everyone on TNG. Just
Yeah, well, Riker,
that's
Wolf, and Deanna had a thing together, right? No, I'm sorry.
they didn't know
Um.
for sure. I mean, they go to Risa with the thing, the whatchamacallit,
Oh.
they're seeking Jahamaran as a couple.
Jamaharan is what
Jamaharan.
it is. Yeah.
Jamaharan.
They be seeking.
As a
They be seeking. Are you willing
Jill,
to be
that's the one I
unprofessional?
thought was your favorite. The zero episode was your all-time favorite of this season, but they're all so good. It's so hard to pick a favorite. It's really not easy. What is my avatar doing now? It's so weird. This angle. It's
It's
like those.
Zephram Cochrane. You're looking up at the sky.
It's like I'm still looking forward. It just changed on me. It's so strange.
No,
It's
it's
really
full.
bizarre.
We've gone full first contact now.
There,
Oh, there we go. He's
there.
back.
I,
Oh my
now
god,
I'm not
that was
even.
so
Now I'm not
freaky.
looking
Why did
for.
it turn back like that? What's
And look
going
at what
on?
it's doing with my neck. Like it's.
You've become an owl. What is
So
going on? You're drifting away.
So, Toddy, are you caught up with Lord of the Rings of Power? Are you caught up with Rings
I
of
have
Power?
seen 3 episodes. I have not
You
seen
haven't
the
seen
one
the
that
four?
just came out.
Oh, you're gonna love it. It's gonna be so good. Stay tuned for those of you who are interested in the return of our second breakfast series. We're figuring out the logistics of it behind the scenes, and once we do that, we'll figure out how we're gonna do that. But I'm excited to talk about it. Are you enjoying
So,
it so far?
are we changing the name of the podcast? It's still, what was it? Second Breakfast? We're still calling it Second Breakfast?
If it's that early, I think we could still call it second breakfast.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
it's second breakfast somewhere in the world, right? Like it's
Okay.
okay. We have So Hale is being hunted by wolves on the frozen tundra. Guys, we will not be doing a After Dark episode tonight, but like I said earlier, go check out oh, don't give spoilers for anything. No, just kidding. That's something everyone's known is going to happen at some point, but to be
Yes. I had a feeling eventually we would see Tom Bombadil because he was cast. So if you cast someone,
You're gonna see
then
the
you got to show them, right? Like that makes
yeah.
sense. So I
So we're
thought
not gonna.
this is
Oh,
nuts.
go
I'm
ahead.
sorry, I have to say this. This is nuts. There's a certain character in Lord of the Rings, like Rings of Power, that has, I guess, multiple appearances based on like when we're like what kind of time frame we're in. I thought they recast the guy. They didn't. It's the same bloody actor. I was confused for like the first episode. I was like, wait a minute, what? And then I went back and I'm like, no, they put a wig on the guy. It's incredible.
Wait, who? You're talking about that guy? Yeah. No, it's the
Yeah,
same guy. Oh yeah, I see what you mean. Sorry. That's the fun part. I think
I
that
was
actor must be so
amazed.
thrilled. And I love it.
He's such
Everyone's
a
like,
chameleon. He does so well.
yeah, yeah.
Congratulations.
That's a little preview of the kind of stuff we'll talk about on Second Breakfast when we figure out when we're gonna have that. So next week, a triple called Quest is the episode. I'll see you on Friday, Toddy.
Mm-hmm.
What's going on in your world, by the way? You just dropped a new hot track on Sean V.
Yeah, I just dropped a new song if anyone wants to go check that out. Um,
I enjoyed it. I've been liking your music. I think you're getting me into this genre.
ooh,
Yeah, I like.
which
I
is
actually
rap,
play.
by the
I've.
way, people. So if you're not into rap, I mean,
Are you rap or hip hop or both, or is it the same?
this actually what I released is more like old school kind of hip hop vibes
That's what
than
I
it is like
thought.
straight rap. So yeah,
Yeah. See, I thought so. See, look, I know my. I might not know everything, but I know a little bit.
but it was kind of like old school. It's got some more old school vibes. So like yeah, it's more hip hop in its style. Though I do think that the genre hip hop, encompasses rap and
Rap.
all
Oh,
sorts of
so
different.
rap is a subgenre. Why did it zoom in?
I
So
don't think so. I think hip hop is more of a culture because I think
oh,
I would say that a lot of elements like DJing and breakdancing, I would even say like graffiti art, like tag, is part of like the hip hop culture.
you're bringing back so
Um,
many memories of my youth because I didn't partake in those things, but my older cousins were doing all that, like tagging, and they had their tag names and like all that stuff. I totally forgot about that, but
I,
I would have been
yeah,
punished, and I was too scared to do anything like that. I was
yeah.
also younger, but
I started like anyway. It's a long story. Maybe I shouldn't say it
you were
online,
a
but
tagger. You were graffiti artist. Are you
no, I
graffiti artist?
wasn't. But I started beef with like a crew because of that. Because I was with a buddy and he was a tagger and like he had his mates with him. And because I was hanging with them, like the assumption is I tag too. And so the
Mm.
guy comes up and he's like, "Oi, what do you spray?" I'm like, I don't spray anything. I don't tag. He's like, "What you
Don't you
talking
wish you
about?"
knew?
And he got
Don't you?
really mad and he was like, "I spray this." And he told me his name and I had seen like his art around the streets and I said, "Bruh, like if I would have tagged, I sure as hell wouldn't tag as shit as you." and and beef ensued. It was pretty interesting.
Dang. Wow. Don't you wish you knew your nickname Toddy back then? You could have tagged as Toddy.
Maybe.
It would have been a cool tag name. No one has Toddy. It's sweet. Anyways, uh, I'm glad you didn't. I'm glad you survived that beef, and that we have you here with us. So that's good.
It was
Um,
Flame. It was Flame back then. As corny and as it cringe as it may sound, but the name was Flame.
Flame.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like Johnny Storm. That's cool. The human flame. Very appropriate.
No, it's the Human
Uh,
Torch, isn't he?
the human torch. That's right. I call it the flame.
The Flame. Yeah, but it
I'm the
wasn't the
human
Flame. It was
flame.
Flame.
Look at it's so weird. This face defaults to angry when I cover my mouth. Watch.
Oh, you turned into Grumpy Cat.
I know it's only when I cover my mouth. It's so weird. Anyways, it is. I agree with Benji. It's very interesting to learn about La Flambe.
Yeah, that's it. It was Flame.
La
Then when I
Flambe.
moved to France, it was like Flambe, baby.
Anyways, I agree with Benji that it is interesting hearing your stories about young Toddy. Maybe you'll inspire the Star Trek writers to create a character called the Flame, called Flame. That's actually a cool DJ name too. Actually, Flame. Anyways,
Lower Decks
folks.
should create a character called Flame, and like he unwittingly starts quarrels and beef between like all of these different species all the time. Like you got to figure out why everyone's at war, and it's just this guy.
All right, folks. Live long and prosper, and we will see you next
I do
time.
declare you need to show your real face before we sign out. Come on.
I can't. If I did, you'd see goggles in front of it. Like it's not like I can just pull this shit off. Yeah, like it's it's not like Scooby Doo. I can't just like.
Oof. All right, fine, you villainous creature.
Villainous
the real you
creature
next time.
indeed. You will. I should be. I'm gonna start on a new allergy treatment, so we'll see how it goes. But yeah, you'll see the real me.